Hey, P1 has emailed and said, the dumbest thing I have ever said. And she says, I took this from the Disney woman yesterday. She said, that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. But she said, I was at a funeral once where my friend's mom had died. And when I saw him at the funeral, I said, how's your mom? I awkwardly tried to explain, I am so sorry.
I mean,
well, that's her right there.
Yeah.
He makes fun of me now, and we laugh about it. It's a positive yet painful memory for me.
Yeah.
His mom had cancer, and I always ask him, how's your mom? So every time I saw him, I would ask that. And then at her funeral, as her casket is there, she says to him, how's your mom? And he said, well,
she's the reason we're all here today.
Not doing well. My goodness.
You know, I think I've told you guys this. My dad passed away, and the funeral service is tomorrow in Richmond. Mm-hmm. And my wife and I have been dealing with the funeral home who's been around for 150 years in the city of Richmond. I mean, they've dealt with our family for generations.
Yes.
Great people. Mm-hmm. Great people have helped us tremendously. Because, as you know, Kelly, it's not an easy process. Mm-hmm.
No, of course,
especially when my mom made some pre-plans. Mm-hmm. My dad didn't do anything. So, we kind of had to improvise.
Exactly the same for us. My mother had everything spelled out and taken care of.
Right.
My father had done nothing.
Yeah, I get it.
Guys are like that.
Well, I guess so, but I would have thought if one was doing it, they'd do it at the same time.
No,
but
wasn't the case.
Did not happen.
Some people don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, a lot of people just don't want to think about it.
The funeral home, if they're good, makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
They great in our case. And
they're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So we have had to visit in person a few times to help plan the ceremony. And, there's paperwork, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And as we were leaving, this is last weekend, as we were leaving this funeral home, which, again, is an institution in the city of Richmond, we were leaving at about maybe 100 yards, not more than 150 yards from the driveway of this well-established funeral home in the city of Richmond. Mm-hmm. There's another place, and I didn't catch the name, but I saw the sign. They had one of those like marquee signs you can change the letters. Mm-hmm. And basically it was like, I saw the last name of the business and it said, and discount crematorium. And underneath the sign said, why pay full price?
That's right. They're a discount crematorium.
Right across the street from their chief competitor.
Battling, why pay full price? You can get cremated right here.
You fish with a fish hook.
That's right.
It's like it's like selling, a generic branded pack of cigarettes.
That's right.
Next to full price Marlboro.
Right next to it. That's exactly
Which
right.
they do.
Yeah. I think it's good business.
It is.
I hate to say, but I think that's good
Some
business.
would say it's poor taste.
Maybe.
But
listen, when
they're not cheap, but you all know. I mean,
bereaved, we're not idiots.
That's right. The littlest patriot, dear friend, co-worker.
Yeah.
I've almost killed him myself over some sports.
We've all wanted to.
Okay. When my mom passed away, a lot of people from the radio station came to the funeral, to the visitation. They came to the visitation. And the littlest patriot did, and he drove the radio station van so that we could have some exposure.
That's right.
Because
he knew it would be good for business.
He said, well, you got to get the logo out as much as you can, So he drove the radio station van. And when I walked out and saw it, I was like, that's odd that and he's like, well, exposure. You want this is.
It's not like I put up the tent.
He did. He put up the tent.
Oh, he did?
The spinning prize wheel.
And I was like, okay, all right. He's very much out to promote.
All the time.
Some would say poor taste. Some say good business.
Yes.
All right. This crematorium, I think, is doing good business there. There was a woman, she's a mortician. She's going viral today. She calls herself the TikTok mortician. And she goes on and answers questions about her job. I think people have a curiosity about what they do. She's from Syracuse, New York, and she will answer questions about the profession on TikTok. I have a little montage of things she has said. These are things she talks about, like what happens during the cremation process.
No, a person does not need to be embalmed before cremation. We don't crush your body before cremation either. I consider that to be mutilation of the body, and it's really gruesome and unnecessary. Now, post-cremation is a different story because sometimes your bones don't break down fully, so the crematory operators have to process your bones and crush them and turn them into ash. The chances of your ashes being misplaced is slim to none. Piercings stay with the deceased. I don't remove them. If I do remove them, it's because I'm cleaning them. Necklaces, bracelets, rings, all of those are removed during the embalming process, and then I put it all back on you when I'm done. Lots of times I'll check in with a family and see if they want to keep any of the jewelry.
So that's some of the questions she's answered. Now, I didn't know that about the bone in the cremation process, that they later have to go and pulverize or
They
whatever.
do.
You know, I had no
That's
idea.
what it's called.
We were sitting in one of the rooms at the funeral home not long ago, and in the corner they had a very tasteful display of what looked like vases, but they're not. They're called scattering urns.
Scattering.
You know,
or
that's when you take them, and that's now a business. You know, because so many people desire to be cremated and then have their ashes sprinkled somewhere else.
I'm going to be cremated.
It is our most reasonably priced receptacle.
It is. It is.
It's the cheapest.
It is no question. I've decided to be cremated.
Yeah.
Just now.
Recently, my mom was cremated and my father, but we decided that for him because he had left no word on what he wanted.
Yes.
Right.
And it was the most reasonably priced.
Exactly.
My father said a traditional mass of Christian burial, which
Yes.
to me
That's
suggested he
not-
did not wish for that. And he said that more than once. He did not want to be
Well,
cremated.
that's right. But I feel like cremation, for whatever reason, my wife disagrees. So we are, you know, she's a burial person.
Yeah.
And she wants us to be, I mean, she's mentioned even in the same casket, you know, if we've talked about that before.
Who's going to get dug up?
Bush.
Well,
I mean, that's not going to happen.
she could keep you on the
Odds are.
shelf until it's time.
She might, and then
You know,
put
until
me.
and then your kids can just mingle you.
That's right.
Keep you on the shelf. That's where you've been.
Yeah. Two-wheel hardo. You're talking funerals, two-wheel hardo. Go ahead.
Yeah, like Chris Demm, we had a funeral home that had done a lot of the funeral services for the family over the years, and had a family member die, and the wife's uncle and myself and the guy running the funeral home were having a conversation back and forth about how outrageous the cost of the casket was because it's such a huge markup. So we're going back and forth, and the guy gets all distraught, and I guess he felt entitled to do the burial after how long they'd been doing it for the family, and he looks at the grandma and goes, "Now, Ruby, we done buried all y'all."
What a line.
Oh, yeah. Look,
Ruby.
come on now.
Work with me, Ruby.
Did he get it done? Did he wind up doing the family funeral?
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah, I figured they'd meet halfway.
I mean, where are you going to go? Across the street to the discount joint?
That's the thing. Thank you, too,
May
Will
not be
Hardy.
one there.
Well, you know, I'm from Ashburn, North Carolina. There's two funeral.
Salute.
All right. There's two funeral homes there.
Yeah.
And I was always told the Democrats go to one and the Republicans go to the other. And so our family's always been at one. We've been at the Republican one the entire time. And that
I never
don't
knew that.
You know, I don't know if that's true or not.
I've only been to one in your town.
That's right. Well, it gets more business.
I would assume.
I don't know how the other one. Somebody told me that once. It's like you go here for the Republicans and you go here for the Democrats. But my mother had already made the choice. You know, I think she even was the one that told me. She's like, well, I like the other one just as much, but they say Republicans go here and Democrats go here. So that's how we did it. Mark is on the line to talk about cremation now. Mark, go ahead.
Yes, I have a friend that's in the industry, and they say they have to really watch out for when they're cremating larger individuals to not have grease fires. So I just want to throw that little tidbit in there for you.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Yeah. Well,
Why'd you turn to look at Biggie?
why you do that?
Why do you do that? And it's on camera, too, Kelly.
I wasn't doing that. That wasn't what I was doing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Was that noticeable that I turned my eyes toward you? I apologize.
Yes, this topic's come up before.
Yeah, it has.
It has. It does happen.
I know one.
It's my final joke.
It's one person. It's your final joke to start a grease fire.
Yeah,
Burn the whole place down.
exactly.
Some people like to watch the world burn.
I love it. I love it. It's what I want.
Didn't somebody have to be taken to like the School of Veterinary Medicine?
God, I hope that's me.
Over at the state capitol.
Yeah, over at the fairgrounds or something.
That's
yeah.
right. They take you
See,
over.
I'm the type. I'm like, they always talk about you'd have to chop. People get some chopped up before you go in. I'm like, do whatever to me.
You don't care. Are
No,
you
but
going?
this body's a vessel.
Are
Have you considered, Biggie, donating your body to science?
Sure, take it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Help the
matter
next
to me.
generation of doctors?
Yeah, I would not care.
Do you? Are you thinking cremation?
Oh yeah, always.
Me too.
Always,
I'm
yeah.
I'm a cremation person, but I've changed over the years. I used to be a burial
I mean,
person.
it's against a lot of people's religions, and some people, of course, have very firm moral beliefs against it too.
That's right. Chad, you're talking about my wife wants us to be buried together. Go ahead.
Morning, guys. I used to be a funeral director up in PA, and it wasn't uncommon for people to be buried together. Usually, if one of the spouses wished to be cremated and they passed away first, when the other spouse that wanted to be buried, we would put the cremated remains in the casket with them and bury them together.
Let me ask you this: in that case, what does the headstone say?
You put them both on there.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay. That might be what we do.
that's your future.
Thank you, Chad. Exactly. So I would have to go first and be cremated.
Mm-hmm. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
And then
To
kept
be
on the
together.
shelf.
Yeah. But put on the mantle.
Or maybe out in the garage with the paint. I mean, it doesn't have to. It's not temperature sensitive.
No,
is
no,
it?
it's not. Well,
I don't want you in the room the whole time.
well, right.
Look, I don't want to say anything against either of your wives, but if we're going to bury anyone together, I believe it'd be you two,
Me and
Demm and Kelly.
Commingle our ashes.
I mean,
Is
really,
that in the
you,
contract? We have to keep the other guy on the
Swirl us
shelf.
you two technically are each other's longest relationships.
Put that on the headstone. You thought it was a joke.
Gosh, I guess that's right. Yeah, we
Dave and
did.
I'll do a seaside service.
Yeah.
They're finally living their truth.
We knew.
Mix the ashes.
We were suspect all the time.
Well, I didn't even think about that. Wouldn't that be something to have us mixed together there?
I'd want to stay together if I was cremated, which I probably will be.
Not spread.
I don't want to be scattered. I want to. You can put me in one of those
You like the vessels?
columbariums, or you can put me in the
like
ground.
in a wall.
Yeah, but I don't want to go down a hole in a box.
Well, I want like a little bit of me at the places I love, and then keep the bulk of me on
I mean,
the
like in
Dad's
here.
on the sofa.
Hey, you can't do that in the Costco. What are you doing? No.
chicken and pickles.
There's a cloud in your gym.
Yeah, the gym.
The drive-through.
The drive-through.
Costco's evacuating because you're in the vents.
Oh, I'm worried about that. But I'd like little pieces of me at places I love.
Don't do that. Keep yourself together.
You want to be together.
Yeah.
Because then, the only thing that worries me about cremation is, heaven.
What about it?
Well, if you get cremated, I'm afraid that when you get to
You're not
heaven,
going to go back together?
I'm worried about that. I'm a little bit worried about
Why?
it.
I don't think you have anything to worry.
What makes you think you're coming here?
A little cremation one way or the other.
Nice.
Get used to the heat.
I'm such a nice guy.
I'm a nice guy.
God, it just got hot in this room.
Well, lion will do that
He
to you.
just came on or something. Yeah, I worry a little bit about heaven.
Why? I mean, Romans were getting eaten by lions all the time, and people fall in the ocean and get eaten by sharks, or
Well, you're
they used to
right.
bury you at sea.
You're right.
If
But
you're on a ship.
if you choose to desecrate this beautiful vessel in that way,
That's just it. I don't think that matters.
I hope you're right. I agree with you.
What if while you're in, what do they call it? The intermediate.
Purgatory.
Purgatory.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
purgatory.
You get to like design what you want to look like in your outfit forever, but you can't change it.
Ooh, I don't know. That's a tough.
Did you give yourself a 6-pack in heaven?
I would. Yeah, I would give. I would finally
Of course you
lose the
would.
weight. I'd finally have the 6-pack.
Like a 70s disco outfit like Travolta and Saturday Night Fever?
Yes, that's what I
Don
want.
Johnson, Dave. You could wear like Don Johnson. in,
God, I wear 80s
Vice.
all the time, man. What's the Bible say, Kelly? You read it.
Let's get Jeremiah's call first.
Oh,
He's got a comment.
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, you're talking about being buried or cremated. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what if A-Train's new husband wants to be buried with her, too? Where's that going to put your urine at?
Okay. All right.
it's an urn, not a
It's
urine.
unheard.
I'd say North Myrtle Beach.
It's not bad.
No, I mean, there are worse places.
Just
It's
say
really
that he
true.
I mean, right up there where the pavilion used to be.
Trying to get under my skin. He's just trying to get under my skin. We've agreed not to marry. We've agreed not to remarry. That's another thing that always bothers me. You know, I think I've mentioned this before.
The heaven threesomes?
Yes, the heaven threesomes.
The heavenly threesomes?
Like if a woman is married to a man, age 25 to 50, and the man all of a sudden drops dead of a heart attack. And it's like, oh, no, you know, and they were madly in love and a great couple, and he dies. Now, 5 years later, at age 55, she gets married to somebody else. They live to be 80, and the husband dies, you know, of natural causes. Now she's been with both 25 years, and then she dies at age 85 a couple of years later. And it's, oh, gosh, you know, which one am I with in heaven?
This is awkward.
Heaven threesome. That really, really bothers me.
You know Richard.
Yeah.
Tom? Richard.
You've seen his picture around the house a lot.
I mean, who are you with?
I think, correct, I may be wrong, but I believe the Bible has answered that because we get emails about every time you bring up your heavenly threesome.
That is a big problem for me.
Your daughter can explain it to you.
I'll ask my daughter about it.
You're an individual there. You're not paired up.
But I want to be like I want to see my wife.
You'll get
again.
to see her. Now, how will you get to see the people that you know? I mean, in other words, if your mom or your dad wanted to be young in heaven when they were 18 or 20,
I know.
How are you going to see them when you go? How are you going to know them?
Another good question. I believe I would see them the way I know them, and then they would see each other as young. That's how magical place. Very magical place, heaven.